Hello everyone, this is Source Codex again, and I'm going to do a video here of recommended purchases for those who are into jazz fusion, progressive rock, psychedelic rock, and items that just don't really fit in any genre. First up, purchase I want to recommend to all of you. It's sort of a rare CD DVD combo. It is Osric Tentacles, and they were live at the Sunrise Festival. I highly recommend you grab a copy of this. If you've never heard of Ozric Tentacles, this is a good time for you to check them out. This is a good way for you to find out more about them. Now, another lesser known group that came out of the Raleigh, North Carolina area was called Glass Moon. They released a couple albums. You can buy them now all on one CD. I picked this up at Amazon not too long ago. The famous guitarist Jamie Glasser is here, and not listed, but also you'll find guitar work by John Wheelis of 3PM, another jazz fusion group out of the Raleigh area. Most of the songs were written, keyboards and singing, David Adams. I met him and I asked him, we were at a club, and I said, David, can you play the keyboard solo from Sundays and Mondays, which has one of the most amazing guitar solos I've ever heard Jamie Glasser do. But yeah, Dave played it, and I was the only one there, and it was just a special kind of moment. My most recent purchase that I stumbled onto is Eddie Jobson, I don't know how you pronounce it, live. And it is a nice 2 CD release with a booklet, and he's got all kind of guitarists guesting on these live recordings like TJ Helmerich, Greg Howe, Alex Makachek, and a lot of good fusion-y prog stuff on this release, and it's quite affordable, right around $20, and it's well worth it. They cover songs by UK when Alan Holdsworth was with them. They cover songs from UK after Holdsworth left. They cover some of Eddie Jobson's solo material, and they even throw in some King Crimson and some Mahavishnu Orchestra just for the heck of it. Highly recommended CD to go grab. And all these CDs I mentioned, if you look in the links below the video, you will see how to purchase them. And yes, I do get a kickback because I am a fresh and brand new Amazon associate. So support my channel, support the artist, and give Amazon a little bit more money because they really need it, you know. Okay, some more recommendations coming up. Okay, I'm going to go through a stack of releases here that are essentials. A group out of Spain, I believe, called Iceberg. This is their release, Sentiments, with Max Sonier on guitar. Just amazing quality fusion-y prog work here. And another group release here, Potemkine Nicholas II. A lot of great fusion-y prog. Look for it in the shopping links below. Now this may be a hard one to find, but it is July by Neil Nappe, and it originally came out on the Audion label, which is long gone. I contacted Neil, and he was nice enough to send me a CDR of this recording. Lots of really cool guitar and synthesizer interplay. So I recommend it. If you can find it, grab it. July by Neil Nappe. He is a genius with an amazing studio. Okay, some more proggy fusion. I bought this when I was up at a music extravaganza live concert where I saw Scott Mcgill playing. I bought this while I was there. The group is called Finnforest. A lot of great fusion-y prog going on, and basically you're getting 2 albums on one CD. And forgive me, but I don't know the name of the guitarist, but you can find that out yourself. Now, if you want prog that is got some fusion happening in it, definitely pick up PFM's Jet Lag. A lot of people hated it when it came out because they wanted more prog, and PFM, also known as Premiata Fornire Marconi, they decided to go a little bit different direction, and it has stood the test of the time. It is just an absolutely wonderful listen. Now, I have listened to all of their other recordings, When the World Became the World, Photos of Ghost, blah blah blah. The only other release they had that I thought was worth listening to, with a lot of great unison lines and compositions, awful singing, but all that aside, PFM's Chocolate Kings is a release worth listening to. Okay, another artist I'm sure many of you have heard of, but you definitely need to get into, is Steve Kahn. And I first came across him buying the LP The Blue Man, with artwork by Folon. Just incredible compositions, little dated on some of the 70s, 80s groove going on, but the guitar work is exemplary. Steve Kahn helped get some of Mike Stern's albums released, and helped with production and all that. I have heard a story about Steve Kahn that when he performed sometimes, or when he recorded in studio, I can't keep it quite straight, but he had these huge stone monoliths standing on either side of him while he played guitar. That might be a rumor, unfounded, but I read it somewhere. But anyhow, crystal clear, clean, overdriven guitar work by Steve Kahn. If you're going to buy anything of his, get the Blue Man, or get a CD that's called Modern Times. I don't have that one out right now. Alright, another definitely must have it in your collection is Brett Garsed and TJ Helmerich's quid pro quo. If you're going to own anything by these guitarists, you definitely ought to have this. Helmerich plays a fusiony legato by doing two-handed tapping on and pull-offs on the fretboard. It's quite amazing to watch him do that. All right. CD I've never opened because I already have digital files of it. Great guitar work is Mark Guillermont's trio, The Space Animals. Recommended. He can do a mean Holdsworth when he wants to. Alright, another CD you are not going to find, but I happen to have the digital file sent to me by T. Markham Gleed. It was a release that was supposed to come out called Never Was, Never Will Be. It had Gleed on vocals and keyboards, Eckstein on drums, Holdsworth on guitars, and Tony Levine on bass. And this was sent to me as a work in progress in the year 2000. If you can somehow get a copy of this, I don't know how, you definitely should. The last track, Bender, or I call it Holdsworth Goes Nuts, it's worth the price of admission. Okay, another one-off that you probably never heard of, a group called Mastermind, a release called Excelsior. All I can say is, if you like the Mahavishnu Orchestra, you will get into Mastermind's Excelsior. I saw them play live in Pennsylvania, and I was very impressed. Alright, another one-off. Mike Varney presents Generator, Ritchie, and Anti. This is Halabeek and Kodakowski. They can absolutely smoke the frets. And they have some other guitarists guesting here. I can't think of all the ones that are on there. That looks like Helmerich there. But anyhow, it's worth a purchase. Should have in your collection. Another one-off, an Asian release with a guy, guitarist, don't know his name, doing a mean Holdsworth. Doppler 444. Mongol. So look that up. It's frenetic like some of Fragile's early work with Koichi Yabori. Alright, Robert Baglioni's Positive Charge. If you like Mike Stern, if you like Tribal Tech, if you like Scott Henderson, then definitely grab a copy of Positive Charge by Robert Baglioni. Another one-off worth having, Jimmy Tunnell's Trilateral Commission. Good stuff. Nice, fusiony, solid jamming. You don't hear much about Jimmy Tunnell. And my last one-off is Daryl Dobson's The Mind Electric. This is like Mahavishnu Orchestra on speed. I just, when I first heard it, I thought, oh my gosh, this guy is tearing it up. Maybe a little unstructured, but still really cool. A lot of good guys on this recording. Shankar, Delmar Brown, Kenwood Denard. Just a lot of good playing. This has been remastered and re-released. I will send a link to the remastered version. I actually ordered it and I'm waiting for it to arrive. Alright, let me get some more for you. This is a guitarist many of you maybe have never heard of. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Nguyen Lee. I featured him as well as some of the other CDs you saw earlier on earmusic.com many years ago. This release is called Three Trios, and this was my introduction to him. You'll recognize some of these names here: drummers, keyboardists, whatnot, bass players. But if you would own any of Nguyen Lee's stuff, it would be this. And here he is in the funky shades. And the guy plays really bizarre looking guitars as well. He is from Vietnam. There's Three Trios. There's Dream Flight. There's Nguyen Lee celebrating Jimi Hendrix in a release called Purple. Some vocals on that. And this is a release just called ELB, standing for Erskine, Lee, and Benita. Good to have. And then the Nguyen Lee Quartet with Paul McCandless, Art Land, Jamie Haydad, Walking on the Tiger's Tail. Nice, overdriven, crystal clear, super fast fingers on the fretboard. And then we got Bakida, the Nguyen Lee Trio. Alright, on to something else. Okay, can women play fusion guitar? They sure can. This is Jane Gedder's self-titled first release. Amazing work. Her husband is the famous Adam Holzman, who played keyboards with Miles Davis, and he does releases himself. And next release I have here is Jane Gedder, See Jane Run. I don't know why, but I have two copies of Jane Gedder, See Jane Run. Slightly different packaging. I don't know how that happened, but I have them. Now, another female guitarist that has recently passed away, I'm very sad to hear that, was Susan Weinert of Germany, female fusion jazz guitarist. This is her release, Mysterious Stories, the Susan Weinert Band. Her most fusiony, crunch-worthy release is Crunch Time with Susan Weinert on the electric guitar. It came to me in this funky blue CD holder. Alright, and then we have Susan Weinert Band, The Bottom Line. Another great release by this the late German guitarist. Then we've got Susan Weinert Band, Point of View, another good release as well. And let's see, this was sent to me in a slimline jewel case. This is Susan Weinert Band. Good grief, I don't even know what the name of it is. Oh, this was a demo sent to me, early demo, Running Out of Time. The official release looked like this, and I thought it was ironic that Weinert named this release Running Out of Time, because she passed away not too many years after this came out. Maybe she knew she was dying, I have no idea. But these are all highly recommended fusion guitar releases by Susan Weinert and Jane Getter. Of course, I am thinking about the late Shawn Lane, who passed away in 2003 at 40 years old. Mark Varney Project, Centrifugal Funk. You have got many guitarists on here, and Shawn Lane was one of them. I've got the release that came out on the Legato label, and I've got the release that came out on the Tone Center label. I believe the only difference in these two releases, which are both great, is one of Shawn Lane's solos, I think, was redone by T.J. Helmerich. I have no idea why that happened. Alright, another release that Shawn Lane is playing on, along with Mike Stern, is Jens Johansson's Fishin', which is a keyboard-driven release. Johansson did one with Holdsworth too, called Heavy Machinery. But if you want to hear Shawn Lane really tearing up the frets, there's some good material on here. And of course, one of Shawn Lane's releases that I highly recommend is Personae. I don't know if you can see it, but when I was at Smile Fest in 2003 with Shawn Lane, I had him autograph this CD for me, as well as Jonas Hellborg. You can barely read it. The other release I highly recommend with Shawn Lane and Hellborg is Time is the Enemy. If you want to have some of Shawn Lane's best stuff, you've got to have these releases. Now, I'm trying to remember the name of the song. I think it's called Rice with Angels. I heard that and I was totally blown away. And there's also Icon with Lane and Hellborg. More releases coming up. Okay, not too many people know about the saxophone player Dave Binney. This is a release called Point Game, and on it is guitarist Adam Rogers. There is some great fusion-y music on this release. Dave Binney and Adam Rogers. Now, the both of them went on later to become Lost Tribe, and this is their self-titled release. Fema Efron, bass, Adam Rogers, electric guitar, Dave Binney, alto sax, David Gilmour, not to be confused with Pink Floyd, on electric guitar and guitar synthesizer, and Ben Porowski on drums. A worthwhile purchase. Funky fusion. And then the last decent Lost Tribe release, Soulfish, which came out after their self-titled release. If you want to hear them doing a song that sounds like The Dance of Maya by Mahavishnu Orchestra, just tune up Steel Orchards. You will be amazed. They released another CD called Many Lifetimes, but I found it to be lacking soul fire, as I say. Alright, another set of CDs to discuss coming up. Bill Connors of Return of Forever fame, after he finished his excellent acoustic guitar explorations, he went electric again in the 80s and released 3 CDs. This one is called Step It. And you can hear him doing a really fine Holdsworth style of playing. And Bill Connor's Double Up, another release you need to have in your possession. And lastly, Bill Connor's Assembler, another fine release by Bill. Now, he released a CD called Return. I'm sorry, just was not burning, just was straight up jazz, which is okay for some people, but not for me, being a fusion head. I don't know what Bill is up to now, except for teaching. He did play with Return to Forever live in a reunion tour, and it was recorded. I listened to it, but frankly, the solos were just lacking the ferocity that I'm used to by Bill. But that's just my opinion. All right, more CDs to be discussed. Okay, next. I don't know if any of you have heard of Scott Mcgill and the Hand Farm, but this is a release to definitely be grabbed hold of. This was in the era when Scott was doing Alan Holdsworth on steroids. Really rocking, really hard driving legato fusion. But Scott told me he doesn't do as much hammer-ons and pull-offs as Holdsworth. Instead, he just picks like a madman. His next release was called Ripe, and I recommend it as well. After that, his other releases with Man Ring and DeCarlo and the others, I don't know, they were just too weird for me. I feel like he was more focused in these two releases. But again, that's my opinion. Take it or leave it. If you like Holdsworth, another group that's long since passed, John Erickson on guitar with Whoop Nash. This was their self-titled release. You can still find it on Amazon and Discogs. Their next release, Full Scrape. And again, you can find it on Amazon and Discogs. A release you probably won't find is Whoop Nash Lack of Education. I think it is on Discogs, but the guy wants an arm and a leg for it, and this is not even existing on Amazon at all. You might luck up and find it on eBay or something like that, but those are the three CDs that Whoop Nash put out a good while ago, but they're worth having, worth listening to. All right, I have some more super guitar work by John Pelosi on the self-titled release, The Code. Perhaps you can find that. I haven't even looked to see if it's available. I reviewed this release on earmusic.com many years ago, Figli de Bala. And I believe that's John Pelosi getting a drink from Daddy, starting early on the vino. But John has very amazing releases, compositions, I mean, and he's worth checking out. Whatever it costs, you should grab up Pelosi's stuff. And then the last release of his that I ever purchased was Bianca with John Pelosi on guitar. All worthy of your fusion guitar collections. More to come, more possibly unknown to you folks. Fusion with a little bit of progressiveness, but more fusion than anything, is Isotope. This is their golden section release with Gary Boyle, excuse the focus, or lack thereof, Gary Boyle on guitar. Solid stuff. And then we have Isotope This End, Deep End Plus by Isotope. Again, a great release. And we have Isotope and Gary Boyle live at the BBC. Ooh-hoo-hoo. So Gary plays a mean guitar, and the rest of the guys on keys and bass and drums do a good job too. Gary released a lot of solo stuff, and you can find and look for those as well. I'll provide links to his work. This is Name. Some of Gary's 80s releases, I hate to say it, sort of delved into the disco realms, which Larry Coryell in the 11th House sort of danced around that disco funk crap too. But anyway, I have more to discuss. I've heard of the guitarist Eric Johnson, but I'm sure many of you do not know that when he was a young guitarist, he was in a group called Electromagnets, and this is a self-titled release, and it is worth grabbing to hear Johnson doing fusion. And another release that was sent my way was Electromagnets Ii with Stephen Barber on keyboards, Kyle Brock bass, Eric Johnson guitar, Bill Maddox on drums. I hope you all learned a new thing about Eric Johnson and about these releases. I will try to find them and put shopping links for these as well. And now comes my final recommendation. Drummer Renee Engel put out several CDs. This one is Spheres of Samarkand, and I believe, I'm not sure, it doesn't really matter because the guitar work is great, fusion-y stuff. I think it was Richard Hallebeek playing on the guitar. This is Renee Engel's Despite Opposition. He's a great drummer, and he grabbed some great guitarists to play on his compositions. Again, I think it's Hallebeek. I don't know. Renee Engel's Nostalgia, and that's the last of his that I own. But these are all recommended releases. I did have some live music on my channel featuring Hallebeek, but he demanded I take it down, so I did. So you won't have any music by Hallebeek being offered on my channel. But I do recommend CDs that he plays on, especially Renee Engel's work. You got a nice fusion-y quality going on there. So that is it for my crash course on fusion. I didn't mention, but it goes without saying, if you want to really see fusion in its heyday, you need to buy Mahavishnu Orchestra, Jerry Goodman and Jan Hammer, Like Children, Return to Forever, Hymn of the Seventh Galaxy, Romantic Warrior, Stanley Clark's solo, first release, and School Days. And of course you want to get the 11th House. And yes, of course, the fusion master himself, Alan Holdsworth. You can find all of his stuff relatively easy. Releases that he played on, releases that he released himself. And there's just a lot of good stuff by Alan Holdsworth. Definitely want to get into him. If you haven't already, do so. As I mentioned earlier, Scott Henderson told me not to put any of his music on my channel, so I'm not. But you still need to get his Tribal Tech releases. They are all great to have for a fusion collection. Don't forget Weather Report with the amazing Jaco Pastorius. Make sure you get those as well. And Straight Ahead Jazz Fusion Overdriven Guitar by Mike Stern. Well, that's about it. There's plenty others out there, like the Dixie Dregs with Steve Morse. But you know, I'm just tired of talking about all this. Do your research. You will find all the fusion that you need. So long for now, and thanks for watching.